Hello and welcome to Men of the Den. It's Friday and my name's Eric and it's interview week. And today on the show, I am joined by singer-songwriter Tom Goss. Say hi, Tom.
Eric.
So Tom is the songwriter for the ever popular Bears song and Bears video that I was in.
It would have
And
been without you.
what's that?
It would have been nothing without you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that I'm in all the promo photos for that video. It actually made this channel. I don't know if you realize that, but it was through that video that I met Will, who founded this channel. So how about that?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So Tom, you have a new album. Tell us about it.
Well, I have a new album. It's called What Doesn't Break, and I'm really excited about it. It's very different, both topically and sonically for me. There's a lot of there was a lot of experimentation and a lot of risk taking, and people are really responding positively to it. It's a very vulnerable record. It's a very honest record, and it shows it shows a side of me that I think I've always been a little afraid to reveal. Honestly, this record's been done for a long time, 6, 7 months, and I haven't released it just because I was a little afraid to tell some of these stories.
And so what brought it out? So there's you said that there's a lot of different kind of material in there. So tell us a little bit about some of the tracks and the inspiration behind them. So why don't we start with the one for your new video, All My Life?
Sure. Wait, which question am I answering?
I'm sorry. So tell us a little bit about the songs that are on the album and where they came from.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've always been writing material like this. I just have never been recording it. I write a lot of music, so the songs that make it on the record are just a fraction of the songs. And so this whole process was different for me from the get-go. One of the things I did differently was I went through my books of songs and I pulled out all the songs that I thought were good songs, regardless of what they were topically. And typically what I would do is edit those down. Like I would, say I had like 50 good songs. I would say like, oh, I don't want to do this one or this one or this one, just as a result of my personal biases. Has nothing to do with the value of the song. And for this one, I just sent 30 songs to the producer, which isn't atypical, but I left in the songs that I didn't want to do, even though they were good songs, songs that I was afraid of doing, songs that were like, but if I sit back and I listen to the song and say, that's a good song. Like I may be afraid of that song, but that's a good song. So from the get-go, I sent the producer Marzin, who really did amazing work on this record. I sent him 30 songs and I just said, you pick. And I kind of relieved myself of the pressure of having to fight with these songs. And I figured like, what's the worst that can happen? You can pick all the songs that I don't want to record, and then I just record them, and that's kind of happened. That's kind of what happened. He picked probably half the record of songs that I would have never recorded otherwise, and half the songs are songs that was like, I really want to record this song. I think the song's beautiful, and it really sits in a place where I'm comfortable with. One of those songs, as you mentioned, is a song called All My Life, which was the first single off the record. And I wrote that song a couple years ago, just thinking about all the things that we have in our life that we love and we hold tight and that are dear to us. And then they leave us, That's a childhood friend or a work dream or anything like that. We go through these phases of loving things and then we lose these things. And so that song's kind of about the thing that I love the most right now, which is my husband. And it's just an ode to fighting for that, regardless of what happens now or in the future.
That song is very, very emotional, and the video that you did for it is very bare bones. And you said that in your, I think it was in the Billboard article about it, that this was your first time shooting your own music video. How was that?
It was honestly, it was an amazing experience. You know, I went into YouTube studios. So shoot at YouTube, you know, I can shoot at YouTube every month, and I miss most months just because it costs a lot of time, energy, and money to shoot something. But a couple months ago, I just thought, well, why don't I just go in there, rent a bunch of equipment, because it's all free, right? I don't have to pay for it, and just sit in a room and see what happens. Like, see if I can actually operate the camera, you know, which is like, so I went in, you know, so I got some things, and I got made sure that they were simple. And I got some nice lenses, and then my goal for the day was to learn how to operate the camera, to be honest with you. But I think, you know, I've made enough music videos that was took me about 4 minutes to figure out. And then I was just like, oh, now what? You know what I mean? Like, then my goal is accomplished 5 minutes into the day. I've got another 10 hours in this space. What do I do? What can I do that's interesting? And you know, I just kind of thought, well, what if I do this? What if I do this really vulnerable video? What if I, you know, how does this look? And so for me, it was a real interesting experimentation. And the thing that I really liked about it was that, you know, is that I was the only one there. Is that I was doing everything, and that really allowed me the freedom to be vulnerable in a way that's hard to do when you have, you know, 12 people in the room and a director screaming at you the entire time and all that kind of other stuff. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. It's funny because this, you know, I'm proud of how it looks and how it is emotionally. But there's part. The other great thing about doing it myself is, like, I know all these other technical things that if I did it all over again, I would have done that technically different. You know, so it was cool. It was really fun.
It's also radically different from many of your other videos, which are much more kind of story driven, like Wait, and the what's the time stop animation video where they painted all
Make
over. I'm sorry.
make believe.
Yes, make believe. Make believe is another very complex video. This is a much more like personal kind of experience. It looks like.
Yeah, I think it's hard. Like, you know, as a I think this has less to do with me being an artist and more to do with me being a competitor and a perfectionist. Is that every time I do something, I believe that the next thing has to be bigger and better and more successful and all those kind of things. And I mean, I'm just one dude, you know? So as much as I want that to be true, that just means like every video gets more and more expensive, and every video gets more. And who do you think's paying for it? Who do you think's producing it? Who do you think's organizing it all? So the idea, you know, working on a video right now, and I'm 2 months out, and I'm already freaking out. So I'm going to be working on it every single day for 2 months, in addition to all the other stuff I'm doing. So one of the things I really appreciated about it as well is just like to do something totally opposite and strict, and just like show people like, hey, sometimes I want to do this beautiful piece of art, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a major motion picture. You know what I mean? Which it feels like my videos are becoming major motion pictures. So you know, I'm proud of all of it.
Awesome. So the album's been out for 2 weeks, and how's it been going so far?
Great. Yeah, really great. It's been really great. You know, I came out east and I performed some songs. You know, I performed the songs off the records and told the stories off the records. You know, like I was saying, so I was developing this entirely new live show, um, which involved, you know, Ableton Live and this MIDI control pedal and me playing a bunch of different instruments at the same time. And I was just spending, you know, you could probably see some of the shit behind me, which is where I was spending a lot of time. And, you know, I realized that that I was doing all that, harking back to my previous point, because I was afraid of the message of the songs, or the stories behind the songs, and I realized in that oh wow, like it's really important that I was like putting a smoke screen up. I was doing all this crazy, super awesome, fun, tactical stuff, but in doing that, I was taking away from kind of like the heart and the message of it. So I've really in my shows now trying to craft a more specific and impactful storytelling process. And so that's been an interesting thing to dive into. And people are responding really positively to that. I've been working with Speakeasy DC, which is great. And I did some work with them, and they've been really helpful in me helping tell the difficult stories. And I tell these stories now on stage in front of a microphone, and people are like, I didn't expect that story to go in that direction. It's always like, they're shocked at first, but there's something really powerful about like being so vulnerable and honestly saying the things that I've never wanted to say, and so it's been going around, and people are really responding to the different sound, the different topics, and people are really responding positively. So I'm glad that everybody's not shunning me.
I couldn't imagine that being the case. Your shows are always very kind of chit-chatty anyway, so this sounds like it's taking a much deeper turn there.
Well, they're always chit-chatty, right? And I've always been a storyteller, and I think for me, that's always been very loose. And I think there's value in that, and I think there's some fun in that. But I do think now I'm realizing, like, oh, there are notes that I want to hit. There are beats that I want to hit. And especially when it comes to talking about something you're really uncomfortable talking about, you can't just like wing that. You know what I mean? Because you really have to be hitting it right. So for me, it's more of like, okay, how does the entire story arc look? And how does each specific story arc look? And that leaves me flexibility to be chatty and improvisational at points, but when I need to, it gives me a script to fall back on, so that I'm really hitting the beats that I want to hit.
That's really fascinating. So, and most of the live shows that I've seen you do, it's mostly like you and your acoustic guitar, but this album is a lot broader than that. I mean, there's a lot of different instrumentation. The songs are really different. How are you planning on doing that in the shows that you're going to be doing, starting with your CD release party in Los Angeles?
Well, it's been interesting. I've definitely been doing a lot more collaboration. So, in DC, I played with a cellist for 3 of the songs, and had a lead guitarist up for another song, and in a full band up for another song. And that's always been something that I've always wanted to do, but it's logistically very complicated, given that, it's just me, and I can't like hire a cellist to come on tour with me for every single gig. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of quick, but I happen to, so I have a cellist and a lead guitarist lined up for Los Angeles. Same thing happened up in New York. So it's kind of giving me like, yeah, I really want these songs to sound different live in some way. Your question is a great question, because that's why I started developing an entirely new live show, until I realized like it was a facade. And now I'm trying to figure out ways like, okay, now what can I add into the live show that's only going to help strengthen the storytelling and strengthen the songs and strengthen the experience in a way that doesn't take away from the message.
Awesome. So I mentioned that you have your Los Angeles CD release party. It's on August 25th?
Yeah, it's a week from today.
That's awesome. And what other dates do you have coming down the road?
So I'm heading to Florida after that. So I'm in Orlando and Tampa and Fort Lauderdale. And I just announced a show in Jacksonville today. Then I'm heading up back towards you, because I'll be in Rehoboth Beach Are you going to Rehoboth Beach Bear Weekend?
I am.
Are you really?
I totally am going to be there. Yeah.
Well, then I'm gonna see you.
Yes.
And then what? Oh, then I'm going on a cruise in the Caribbean, and that's gonna be fun too. And then I'm working on a whole bunch of West Coast dates for the fall, so I have to still work that out. But yeah, I'm gonna be going a lot of places.
Awesome. Fantastic. So thank you, Tom, so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for
Where
having me.
can people, yeah, no, not a problem. And where can people find you online?
Oh, it's super easy. TomGossmusic.com, or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all are at Tom Goss Music. So really, wherever you do your things, I'm there, lurking somewhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And people, you can buy Tom's album from his website. You can also buy it on probably every other thing too, like iTunes.
iTunes, Spotify. I don't know where you listen to music, but it's all the places.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Tom. And for those of you watching, thank you for watching the show. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel. You can also subscribe to Tom's channel on YouTube.
Which is Tom Goss Music.
And you can subscribe to Men of the Den at youtube.com/Men of the Den and on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. And I will see you all next Friday. Cheers.
Thanks, Eric.